We find sources of the fruit of the Spirit that Paul names as gentleness in several places in the scriptures. For example, the prophet Isaiah in chapter 40, verse 11, that very familiar image of God as shepherd. God will tend this flock like a shepherd, will gather the lambs, will carry them, and gently lead those that are with young. And in Matthew, we hear Jesus speak of himself as a gentle leader when he says in chapter 11, verses 28, 29, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble of heart, and you will find rest for your souls." I see examples of this kind of gentleness all around me in the natural world this week. You can see behind me a landscape of water and marshy grass that draws all kinds of birds to this part of the seashore. I've been enjoying watching a pair of shorebirds who've hatched, I think, 4 fledglings this week. Those images really speak to me of this image of God as gentle mother, gentle shepherd, gentle leader, gentle one. If we have a God who is this gentle with us, the question that comes to me is, why is it that we can be so harsh and so abrasive with ourselves? Sharon Salzberg, in her book, Real Change, Mindfulness to Heal Ourselves and the World, writes from her own life experience of looking for some path out of her lifelong feelings of inadequacy and self-judgment. And isn't it true that many are overcome with these fundamental feelings of negativity, abrasiveness towards themselves, some spiraling into cycles that we'd call self-hatred, a negative way of relating to ourselves. And it's common among so many people from childhood to old age. It's worth engaging in the struggle of cultivating gentleness, cultivating love for ourselves. And how might we cultivate gentleness? Maybe we can begin to think of ourselves as our own best friend. Maybe we can begin to act tenderly towards ourselves as one of those shorebirds does towards their vulnerable young babies. Cultivating gentleness may necessitate stepping outside our patterns of day-to-day existence, those patterns that keep us busy, patterns that always are focused on anxiety and achievement and identity and making something of ourselves. We may not all be able to listen to bird song or watch the tender care of mother birds for their young, but look around. I bet we can find an image of the gentle God somewhere around us. This invitation to the fruit of the Spirit of gentleness is, I think, an invitation to slip down beneath the surface of the busyness to where it's still and where things move a little slower, like how life is underneath the water. Slip beneath that place of anxiety and achievement to a landscape within, an inner sanctuary of confidence and tranquility and love. What if we tried to look at ourselves, to feel about ourselves, to respond to ourselves as we might do for a best friend? Can we be as gentle with ourselves as we would be with a vulnerable child? As long as we have breath, we can begin again. A new day allows us to begin again. A new moment allows us to begin again, to let go of inadequacy, to try affirmation, to let go of negativity, and to try self-care. Spread gentleness in this abrasive world. Begin again with yourself. Perhaps you'd like to ask yourself these questions. When is it most difficult to restrain from harshness towards yourself or towards others. How might you spread gentleness today? I'd like to leave you with a poem of blessing written by the Irish philosopher and theologian and poet John O'Donoghue. It's called Benach, which is the Gaelic word for blessing. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken in you a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays and the currach of thought and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life. God bless everyone.